welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am going to discuss to you or to share to you the discussion on how to do a proper thesis defense using the right PowerPoint presentation. Writing a thesis is stressful, but preparing an oral defense can be even more painful. But it doesn't have to be. With proper preparation and a good presentation, you will be able to better equip yourself come time to present your thesis defense. But what makes a good thesis defense? A proper presentation helps you with your thesis defense because it helps you to capture the panel's attention and give you cues and reminders on what to say as well. It also keeps your data organized while visually looking good and provides a flow structure for the rest of your presentation. Now, what is a thesis defense? A thesis defense is composed of two parts, a thesis and a defense. A thesis represents a student's collective understanding of his or her program and major. Colleges and universities often include a thesis in every course as one of the final requirements to earn a particular graduate or postgraduate degree. Thesis, however, isn't just a mere requirement. It helps the students to grow out of their shell from their respective discipline or course and give them the opportunity to present all their findings of their study. Moreover, some people think a thesis is just a long essay or article, but it's not. Unlike an essay, a thesis needs to assert or prove something. This can be considered as one of the most crucial research documents which the students make during their academic schooling. On the other hand, a defense is the presentation of the pieces of evidence to support and prove your research. It's the most essential part of the thesis process. Your presentation has to be prepared to answer questions from members of the panel and any other panel present. And it's your job to convince them and defend your thesis with ample proof. Prior to presenting, you have to carefully determine what appropriate evidence should be presented before the panel, depending on what thesis you have to defend. And uneasiness. It could be because you are not sure what to expect. I will dispel three common thesis defense myths or hearsays that will help you become more confident in your presentation. Okay, myth number one: answer all the questions correctly. Otherwise, your thesis won't get approved. You are expected to have a focus on your research. That being said, you have to study each part of your thesis, every detail, and every uneven your resources. You have to study and practice how to deliver your presentation effectively. But don't overthink to the extent that you're stressing yourself to know everything perfectly. Don't overstress. If you cannot answer one of the questions, this doesn't necessarily mean the panel won't approve your thesis. You should know that research is a continuous study, so you should expect that your panel will always be able to find a gap in your study to fill in the future related researches. So in times you don't exactly know the answer, admit it and learn as they give their sides or suggestions. Making up an answer will only displease your panel, so it's better to be honest and transparent. Myth number two: the committee or panel is just there to find holes in your study. They don't care about you. One of the typical descriptions students have of the panel is that they just there to poke holes in your thesis. Going in with this perspective makes standing before them a nerve-wracking experience. Relax, they're not your enemy. In fact, they are there to help you polish your study. They might challenge you with difficult suggestions and tricky questions. In the end, they will walk you through the process to come up with better results that won't only benefit you but also your research. They care about you and your study, and they're ultimately there to make your thesis and research better. So separate yourself from your work and look at it objectively, and don't take their comments personal. Myth number 3. If your thesis defense isn't or is not successful, you have to start your thesis all over again. An unsuccessful defense is one of the worst case fears most students have. One thing that you should be aware of is that when you aren't able to please your panel, you don't need to start a new thesis again or go back at square one with your existing paper. It's unusual that your committee or panel will ask you to change your topic and start from scratch again. The fact that you've been permitted to defend your study, that means your research is almost complete. They might suggest further details or ask you for minor revisions, and that's normal. But overall, you need to go into this defense thinking that your presentation will be successful. Otherwise, you are already setting yourself up for failure with the wrong mindset. Remember that positive thoughts attract positive results. Now, since the title of this video is how to do a proper thesis defense using the right PowerPoint presentation, I am going to delve into the presentation structure and slides content. Number 1, the title page. This slide should contain the information that is provided on the title page of your hard copy. The title of your thesis or research paper, then your name, then where you are studying, then the name and details of your course, and finally the name of your advisor. Number 2, introduction. Your introduction slide should provide the panel an idea of the following. First, what is the topic area that you are investigating? Second, what are the specific research questions that you set out to answer? Third, why is this question important to answer? Fourth, what were the objectives of your research? So that is for the introduction. Number 3, literature review. It's not necessary to cover everything that's currently understood in the available literature. You may want to present the following. First, relevant current research that is close to your topic. Second, different theories that may apply to your specific area of research. And third, areas of weakness that are currently highlighted. That is for the literature review. Number 4, methodology. Make sure to touch the factors below within your process. First, the type of study you have conducted, qualitative, quantitative, or mixed. Second, the methods that you choose and why. Third, details of the population, sampling methods, and other information. Fourth, provide information regarding how you have analyzed the data that you have collected. So that is for methodology. Number 5, results. This part should give the panel a good understanding of what you've discovered during your research. It should cover the following. First, an overall description of the data that you collected during your research. Second, the results of the analysis that you have done on that data. Third, what were the most significant findings from your data? So that is for the results slide. Number 6, discussion. So in the slides for the discussion, highlight here the meaning of the findings in relation to your discipline, program, and the research that you have done. First, what are the major findings and what do they mean with regard to your research? Second, how do these findings relate to what others have found in the past? And third, how can you explain any unusual or surprising result? So that is for the discussion. Number 7, conclusion. You have to end your presentation with a conclusion, summarizing all that you have found within your research. You need to first restate your research questions. Second, show how your results answer these questions. Third, show what contribution you have made. Fourth, state any limitations to the work you have done. Fifth, suggest future research. And sixth, make any recommendations. So those are the structure and slides content of your presentation from the title page, introduction, literature review, methodology, results, discussion, conclusion. So that's the last. Now, here are some tips during your oral defense. Number 1, review your materials. Even if you already feel confident with your upcoming presentation, you still need to review your materials. You can bring the hard copy of your thesis with you during the defense, but you don't want to get lost with your presentation when you forgot some specific details and have to scan your papers. You should know your paper in and out. Second, rehearse your presentation. It's not wrong if it will sound like a script when you speak in your oral defense. It's expected and understandable. You need to practice your presentation, especially when there's a time restriction given to every presenter. You only need to prepare enough number of slides that would fit your time limit. 100 slides aren't suitable for a 15 to 20 minute presentation, nor 10 slides for an hour of defense. Your rehearsal will be more effective if you practice it in front of an audience. Number 3, narrow the presentation of ideas. Regarding your slides, you don't have to include everything that's in your paper. You should narrow down your ideas to the main points and the most details, or the most important details. If the panelists think you lack details or they want to hear a further explanation, they won't hesitate to ask you. Number 4, prepare for the unexpected questions. The panel tends to challenge the presenters usually through some hard questions. Its aim is how well most important details. If the panelists think you lack details or they want to hear a further explanation, they won't hesitate to ask you. Number 4, prepare for the unexpected questions. The panel tends to challenge the presenters, usually through some hard questions. Its aim is how well do you have done your research and how prepared you are. But as long as you know the ins and outs of your paper, you shouldn't lose your confidence regardless of which questions they ask. Just keep in mind that what you are saying in your oral defense is not in conflict with what is written on the hard copy you provided them. Number 5, what to do when you don't know the answer. If the panel asks you a question and you don't know the answer, don't make up a baseless answer. Baseless means out of context answers, or something without proof or backup. Number 6, how to deal with the nervousness. The panel is expecting you to be nervous. Of course, it's normal. However, one effect of being nervous is the changes in your behavior. There's a tendency you will talk fast, that which will make it hard for the panel to understand you. It might also cause you to have a mental block. So try to slow down. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Remember to breathe, or else you'll die. It's okay for you to pause, and it's okay to take your time. It's more important that the panel clearly understand what you are trying to articulate. So, now, here are more quick tips on how to present in your oral defense. Number 1, introduce yourself at the beginning. Number 2, introduce the title of the presentation. 3, don't read your notes if possible. 4, don't speak too fast. 5, put an emphasis on what you're saying so you don't sound like monotonous. 6, look at your advisor once in a while for possible signs. 7, stand on the right of the widescreen if you are right-handed, so you can easily refer to the slide without giving your back to the committee or to the panel. 8, face the audience when you talk. 9, keep an eye contact. 10, make sure to keep attention to the reactions of the panel and don't forget to reach in turn. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to do a proper thesis defense and how to best prepare for one using proven tips and techniques to help you get through this. Hopefully, after your defense, you will be set as one in your class to deliver an inspiring graduation speech for your peers. If you get value, or if you got value for that, please remember to share this video. Thank you and keep safe.
So for me, sir, for this video, I learned how to do a proper thesis defense by using PowerPoint presentation in a right screen. Before that, introduce yourself and and keep on eye contact on the panelist, and before that introduce yourself and introduce the title of presentation, an introduction and theoretical background, and stand and write on the right screen. If you write hand, and look at your advisor once in a while for possible signs, and don't read the yeah, don't read the and don't read the notes is possible, and put in emphasis on what you're saying, so you don't sound like monotonous like me. And please they all judge while you talk, and and og ayaw pag kulba kay kay naramanas ka ng kuan naamo din na nato, and prepare the questionnaire of the panelists before your answers, and study the notes. Don't don't answer the question or the question of panelists kung wala ka kahibaw, kay kung imong pugson nga nag-answer imong pugson kung imo ganing kuan nun madugay kuan basig nyag moingon questionan kas panelist nga kuan nya kan man ato ng and respect the judge and panelists and advisors. And so that's all. Thank you, sir.